Picture this scene. You're at the cruise port. You've had a wonderful time of planning a fantastic vacation with your grandson who is flying across country to meet you. He flew in the night before as an unaccompanied minor. You met him at the hotel. You had a great evening. You're both in great anticipation of an upcoming cruise. You've done everything you need. You just had breakfast at the hotel and you're about to board the shuttle to go to the cruise port. And on the way back to your room, turn to your grandson and say, "So, where's your passport?" With a deer in the headlights look, he looks at you and says, "Mama has my passport. Mama is 3,000 miles away." And from there, it gets worse. Welcome to my travel window, where we help you travel as far as you can while you still can, and we offer you timely advice. And this advice is particularly for grandparents who are traveling with minors. So we've been on several cruises. We've been to Alaska several times. One of those trips we had our grandkids with us, but their parents were there along as well. In this case, we were traveling with just our grandson. We knew that he had a passport, and we knew that he was going to be flying. We expected he would use his passport to travel, and we had told his parents where we were going and what we were going to do, and we thought they understood that he needed a passport for the trip. But the parents thought, "Oh, this is a cruise to Alaska. He won't need a passport for a cruise to Alaska, and we're afraid he might lose it." So they got him on the plane and then kept the passport. So here we are in Seattle, Washington, without what we thought was the only remaining item needed to board the cruise ship. I go on the Royal Caribbean website to determine what it is, what things that you need to have, and in the process, I discover that there are two items that we're missing. Not only do we need a valid form of identification, and since his passport is 3 time zones away and we're 4 hours from cruise leaving, we're not going to get that. The second option for identification is a copy of a certified birth certificate. So, question is, could we get a copy of the birth certificate? Now, this is a work day, and our daughter and son-in-law are both at work, and so neither of them are where the passport or where the birth certificate is. So, but then we discovered the second item that's necessary. Whenever we've had grandkids alone, we've always had the parents supply us with a document that says, yes, it's okay for you to seek medical attention for our grandson or grandchild if that's necessary. And so we planned to have one of those. But what we discovered is the Royal Caribbean and most cruise lines have a specific document that they have to sign that releases that grandson, who has a different last name from us and lives in a different address, who releases him into our care for this trip. And it has to be notarized and signed by a family member or by one of the parents on the East Coast and by us on the West Coast. How are we going to do that in 4 hours? Remember, I told you that all this was happening while we were getting on the shuttle. So on the shuttle, between the Seattle airport and the Seattle cruise terminal, we were busy downloading the form, sending it to my daughter, trying to get information. But we arrived at the cruise port without either of the two documents that we need. And the first point is, in order to get into the cruise terminal, they have a guard standing at the gate that says, "I need you to show me ID for all of your party." Well, we could show him our passports, but we didn't have ID for our grandson. And so we became one of those people. You ever wonder what happens to people like that who get to the cruise port and they don't have the documentation they need? So what happens is they get a special escort. Lady came to us and said, "Walk this way, please." She took us separate from everyone else and walked us up to the place where they check in people for the ship. There's a long row of people. At the very end is a section cordoned off for those people, the people who have problems. Now this is going to seem a little like a MacGyver episode or an episode from the Mars movie or Apollo 13 where they lay everything out on the table and say, what do we have to work with to get what we needed to have done? So it should be noted that from my end, all I had was a cell phone. I didn't pack my laptop for this trip, and so all I could do to get either email or text was use my cell phone. Let's start first with the birth certificate. What our daughter had to do is find someone else who had a key to their house, who could go into their house, find the birth certificate, take a picture of the birth certificate, and email it to us. That's step one. It's not done, but that's how that happened. Step two, we had the document that we downloaded from the Royal Caribbean website that says, I give permission for my son to go on this trip with these people, and it's signed by the parents and signed by us and notarized. So what actually happened in that situation is our daughter downloaded the document, which we had filled out the first part to, and she then took that to a UPS store where she was able to find a notary. She signed it, had it notarized, sent it to us, and I added a signature using a digital drawing tool, which I couldn't have done, but fortunately I had a grandson along who could help me do that. So that's how we got the two documents that we needed. On this particular cruise, with 5,000 people on this cruise ship, there were perhaps 15 people in this cordoned off area, but it was mostly 4 or 5 family groups. During the course of the day, the family groups would clear and they'd be able to go on the ship. But we noticed as the day wore on, and we were there for a long time, that some people started hugging each other and crying, and some people walked and got off the ship. The rest of the family left and went home. And then later on, we found a lady crying at the counter, and she told us the story that she did not have the appropriate documentation and couldn't get it, so her parents were going on the ship, and she was turning around going home. After a couple hours work, we had the two documents we needed. I had them. The problem is, it's not enough for me to have them in the email. Royal Caribbean has to have them in paper. The process of getting from my email to their paper turned out to be the biggest challenge of the day. So, challenge number one was being able to send them the email. Even though we are in Bill Gates' backyard in Seattle, the Wi-Fi at the Seattle cruise port is terrifically slow. And I kept trying to send emails and they kept timing out. So finally the desk told me, oh, go walk over next to those windows over there. You might get a little better cell reception over there. So here I am at the window trying to find enough bandwidth to be able to send my two documents. Then what happened is Royal Caribbean got those, and they said, well, okay, now we have the email. Now we have to take this, go to the office and open the text in the office and print it on the printer over there, because that's the only place we can print emails. This lady took it to the office and never returned. So meanwhile, we tried the second document, and they said, it's in the wrong format. So the wrong format means someone took a picture, and they took a picture on an Apple phone. I had to have it in either a JPEG or a PDF format. So how am I going to translate? The only thing I have is my cell phone. So I'm on my cell phone at the window, Googling how to find an application that convert from this format to that format. I found one, I converted it. With great difficulty, I sent it. And so they finally got it. Finally, that one worked, got printed, got accepted. The ship manifest is due at 3 o'clock and the ship sails at 4. And so if you're not on the ship by 3 o'clock, you don't sail. At 10 minutes to 3, we still did not have any approval. We were the last people left in line besides the lady crying at the counter. And so we were pretty apprehensive at that point. Finally, they got the document, they printed them, and we're in the process of getting everything signed off and everything okay, and the clock hit 3 o'clock. My grandson was very nervous, and the guy at the counter said, "It's okay, you'll make the ship." So apparently they had just put us on the manifest. We walked on the ship at about 3 minutes after 3. I believe that we were the last people to be on the ship. So the takeaway messages from this: if you're going to communicate, if you're going to take someone, family, particularly a minor, make sure you understand the requirements and what documents they are, and it's not just identification. It will be some sort of document that releases you to be able to take these people and releases the cruise line of liability. Second thing is, make sure that you communicate clearly with family what documentation you need to have. Bottom line, don't let it keep you from sailing. This was by far the most challenging embarkation that we've ever had. But the cruise was wonderful and worth the effort. If you want to know more about cruises to Alaska, check out this video. Until next time, safe travels.